Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. She'll also bring insightful interviews with successful business owners who have used networking to expand their businesses. Building relationships is the heart of networking, and generosity is the cruise ship that will navigate you toward those important relationships for your business or career. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faith Ann is ready. Are you?
Hello there, and welcome to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm glad you found the show. Networking is providing opportunities for others that they would not have except for you, so that you have standing to ask for opportunities from people when you need them. How do we create opportunities for others, and how do we ask for those same opportunities? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. It's what I'm here for. Let's dive into episode 52. This episode is another solo episode, and it's the last in the series of the floors of your networking success. So in episode 48, I started the first floor. That was all around tact, being tactful so that you don't turn others off. Then we moved in episode 50 to the second floor, rapport, and the third floor, trust and credibility. So once you have at least established a beginning relationship where you're not doing anything tactless to turn people off, then you go up to the second floor, you start to build rapport with people. And rapport is, Mary's a nice person. Mary's interested in me. Mary's not selfish. Mary seems competent. Mary seems warm. Then you go up to that third floor of trust and credibility where now people are actually willing to take a risk with you by recommending you to their friends and family. That takes us up to the fourth floor, which was episode 51, referrals. In episode 51, we talked about giving and receiving referrals. A lot goes into that referral that you receive. A lot goes into that referral that you pass. And what should we be thinking about? What should we be doing in the process of receiving a referral and giving referrals to those that we trust, those people who have made it up to our third floor of trust and credibility? Now we're on the top, the fifth floor. This episode is all around the fifth floor of your networking building that leads to your networking success. And that's your revenue that you receive from the referrals that you receive, from the trust and credibility that you have earned, from the rapport that you have built, from the tact that you have displayed. We're getting money now. People are sending us business because they trust us, because we've built rapport. So this episode is all about that revenue. So the first thing that we should be thinking about when it comes to revenue to our business through referrals is being truthful. And BNI, which stands for Business Network International, one of their pledges, I guess, when they induct new members to their chapters, there are 6 or 7 statements that they say, and one of them is, I will be truthful with members and their referrals. And what that means is that when you send an estimate or a proposal to a referral that you've received, you are truthful. That means you don't have hidden costs. It means that you clearly explain what your service or product is going to deliver, and you only charge what you say you're going to charge. And if there's additional charges, it's mentioned before the work is done. And the process is all above board. So when it comes to revenue, we do need to go back to that fourth floor a little bit and make sure that when people are sending us prospects and we begin that process in our own business of servicing these referrals that others have put their reputation on the line to send us, that our estimates and proposals are above board and they are very clear and they are transparent. And when the client accepts the estimate or the proposal or signs the contract, the client understands what they're getting. There aren't surprises at the end. So when it comes to revenue that you're going to receive, make sure that you're truthful. If there's a possibility that a job could go longer or it could be additional money, you're upfront with that. I've had a lot of opportunities to meet movers in my networking. There's been some moving companies who have sent representatives to the various networking meetings that I attend, and sometimes it's the owners themselves at the networking meetings. And one of the things I've learned through networking is that there are a lot of shady moving companies out there. And to be clear, I didn't learn that because the people that are networking are shady. It's because the people, those movers or those employees of the moving companies that I'm meeting at my networking events are telling me and others, there are some shady movers out there, and it's terrible. I would have never known that. Stories of these moving companies hijacking people's belongings, their entire belongings, because they want extra money that wasn't quoted at the beginning. There's also shady contractors that don't have licenses, that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. There are companies like that out there. And one of the really nice things about networking and using networking to grow your business is this additional protection that you have, because this person that if you're going to hire them for your own needs and they know they're going to see you on a regular basis, for the most part, they're going to want to be extra honest and extra transparent. You don't have the shady companies typically. They're not the ones in these networking rooms because they would never do that. They don't want to build relationships. The honest companies do, and that's why they're putting the time and effort to get to know other local companies, because they do care and they want to build relationships and they want their clients to use them again and again. So that would be the first thing, is make sure that your estimate process or your proposal process is very, very clear. And you might even just, as you're listening to this, go back and just take a look at your process, kind of look at your estimates, look at your contracts and say, is there any ambiguity in the language that I'm using? And this would be just for your honest business owner. A lot of times when there's ambiguity or there's issues, the business owner themselves, they aren't trying to be shady. They're just not being clear. So this is a good opportunity to take an hour, take whatever time you need and look at your estimates, proposals as an outsider and say, if I wasn't all in the know of my profession and I was just reading this as somebody who doesn't know anything, would I understand clearly what I'm paying for? The second thing when it comes to revenue is let's track it. Track the revenue that you receive from referrals. Track it. Tracking referrals, tracking revenue received from referrals can teach you a lot about how you're spending your time. So if you're noticing that certain professions send you referrals more often than others, that helps you when you're in a room full of 20, 30 people to know where to focus. Now, when you're in a weekly industry exclusive group, you want to be careful to not ignore those members that won't naturally be sending you referrals. You should build relationships with every member in the group. You never know who might know your ideal client. And when you are at these more informal, maybe a little bigger groups, like maybe it's a chamber after hours event, or you're at a conference maybe a local conference with a lot of people, still understanding which professions are you receiving the most referrals from that lead to revenue can be helpful, because then you don't have to feel like you need to make contact with every single person in the room. You can kind of narrow that down a little bit. This also helps you during your 60-second presentation or your pitch to know what other kind of introductions you're looking for. When you're tracking the revenue, then you know if it seems that, for instance, most of your referral revenue comes from a certain industry, then you would want to use one of your pitch times to ask for strategic introductions to other people in that same industry. So if a website designer receives much of their revenue from social media strategists who don't want to build websites for people, then you would want to ask, this week I'm looking for the social media strategist that is the best you know, or that social media strategist who is saying, I really need a good website person so that I can send my clients to that person next, because I really don't like doing websites. So that's another good reason to track your revenue from referrals, so that you know, is there a trend in the kind of industries that send you work? Then you want to ask for more of those people.
Hey networkers, if you want your next one-to-one to go beyond swapping business cards, Faithann's got something for you. She created a free resource called 10 Questions to Ask in a One-to-One. It's packed with thoughtful questions that help you get to know someone and leave a lasting impression. Click on the 10 questions link in the show notes and download this resource today.
And then finally, a reason you want to track this revenue, and when you're thinking about revenue received to your business through referrals, it's a good idea to show some really nice appreciation to those business owners who are sending you referrals. And you can do that by sending them gifts, or you can do a special dinner for them, or you can give them a gift card to a restaurant. In episode 35, Taking Care of the Underdogs, Building Lasting Relationships with Mindy from the Honeydew Checklist, she is the master at this, because I am one of her clients. And so for a long period of time, she has sent me so many things in the mail. And, she never tells me she's going to send them. It's just, I open my mailbox and here's a nice little package. And she'll send me useful things that I use all the time, and it's got her logo on it. So it's nice to show that extra appreciation to those people who are sending the kind of referrals that lead to revenue to your business. Send them things, or make them feel appreciated and special by giving them a gift of some sort. And then don't be afraid to give partial refunds or something extra if you have received a referral and the job didn't go like you'd like. To preserve the relationship that you have with the person who referred you, I would say let's be a little bit more apt to say, you know what, I'm going to knock the 10% off of this since this thing happened that, I know you didn't want to happen, or something like that. Sometimes the client, you may not be able to have that client as a repeat business, but in a good faith effort to appreciate the referral, give the partial refund if you think that's going to help your reputation with the person who referred you. Don't be afraid to do that. I know it's always scary when we talk about, giving money back or refunds or discounts. I know it's not fun, but look at it in a long-term basis. Don't just look at that one transaction. Look at it as a show of good faith to the person who referred you, if possible. Being just more open to the idea of issuing a partial refund if you need to, is a good idea. I want business owners to be successful, especially when you're working so hard to spread the good news about your business and to market yourself. So I know that you don't want to make a habit of issuing refunds, but just the willingness to do that goes a long way, both to the client and to the person who referred you. If you'll just make at least some effort to make a bad situation right in the form of maybe a partial refund or an additional thing you give them, or maybe a discount on a future service, something like that. That is my thought, or my thoughts around revenue received to your business. Just to recap, when it comes to revenue, first, be truthful and honest and transparent about the work that you're going to do so that when that client that's been referred to you is ready to write the check or pull out their card, they know exactly what they're paying for and it's not a surprise. This helps immensely with both your client and with the person who referred you. That reputation of being solid and honest and a good business owner, a good company. And secondly, you want to track where is your referral revenue coming from so that you can build more relationships with those same kinds of business owners, and so that you can ask for strategic introductions to other people in the same profession. And finally, work to fix or to resolve jobs that don't go like you'd like them to by being open to the possibility that a refund or a partial refund or an extra benefit would be a great way to smooth things over, both with your client and with the person who referred you. And appreciate those business owners that are pumping referrals your way. Appreciate them by gifting them, giving them some gifts, or making them feel special in some way. And overall, if you will treat each floor of your networking building with some intention and some excitement and seriousness, you're going to have a great experience networking. And remember, you can go back and listen. It's episode 48, 50, and 51. And then this episode are all around that networking building. And each floor gets you up to the next floor, which ultimately gets that revenue to your business that you're wanting.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basore. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.